All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan. I am the Partnership Director at UNL's Undergraduate Admissions Office. Today, I have Chris Dunsmore with me. He is the Director of our Pathway Programs at UNL. Chris, before we start the question and answer, would you want to quickly introduce yourself, please?
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Chris Dunsmore. I am the Director of Programs in English as a Second Language here at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I've been in this role for about 7 years now. I've been Program Director at other universities before coming to Nebraska. I did most of my English teaching in South Korea in the early 90s.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. So again, there's a lot of questions regarding CAP and IEP students, specifically from our students from China and Vietnam, because there's large numbers of students coming from those specific countries. Now, I'm just gonna go right ahead and ask you the first question, which is for CAP students, if they are admitted with a Duolingo to the CAP program, and the student will be enrolling for online this fall semester, um, will that specific student would need to take the English placement test before starting the program?
That's a good question. Actually, any student that's going to be in either the on-campus version of CEAP or the online version, they will not need to test beyond the initial test that they took. So if they took the ELT to gain admissions to CEAP, that's the only exam they'll have to take. They will not be required to take the ELT, the test that we normally give on campus when they arrive. That's not going to be a requirement at this time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. And then another question. This one is actually for the IEP. So since there's no online option specifically for IEP, but what we're actually offering is the online English program that we have, um, for them to progress into, let's say, a direct entry, what would be the requirement? I know that in the past we said they would need to take TOEFL. Like, were there any changes for that specific policy?
So for the students that are taking the online English program, the requirements for them to matriculate into one of our other programs, if that's the CEAP or into UNL full admission, those requirements have not changed. Those scores are going to be the same. We did recently add the Duolingo as an option, both for the university, and we will use it as our main placement tool, most likely for the OEP.
Thank you, Chris. And just to verify with what we actually talked about earlier, so for each progression to the next English level, they would need to take um, an exam, basically. But let's say they are already on a high intermediate or high advanced level, to progress into the direct entry. You said that, again, Duolingo would that serve as their final assessment on that specific level?
So at this time, the Duolingo is going to be accepted as the admissions requirement for the university, at least for the spring semester. We're hoping that it will be accepted beyond spring of 2021, but as of this time, it's going to be accepted at least through the spring of 2021. And I assume that because it's the cheapest exam out there, that it will become the most popular version that we use to progress through all of the levels of the OEP program, including into the university.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Now, the next question basically is that for OEP as well as CAP, when does classes starts?
It's a good question. For the online version of the CEAP program, we're going to start those classes on August 17th. The university as a whole has gone to this early start period, which is going to start August 17th and end November 25th. So we have decided for both the on-campus and the online CEAP programs to start those with the rest of the university on the 17th. The OEP program, the online English program, is going to start on August 24th, which was the original starting date of the fall semester. The intensive English program will also start on that day. So those two programs will be on the 24th. The CEAP program, both on campus and online, will start on the 17th.
Awesome. Now, my next question in line with that is, since IEP or OEP as well as CAP are of course entirely different than the direct entry program or direct admission to UNL, how does that actually? What's the process for registering for classes?
Okay, so if they're going into the CEAP program, they should be contacted by our program advisor, Dr. An Lei, and she usually reaches out. In fact, I believe she's already done so. For any student that's already been admitted to CEAP, she has sent out an email, I think about 1 week ago, to contact the students and find out first of all, which program they want to enter, whether it's the online version or the in-person version, and then she will take them through the process of registering for those classes, and she will register them for the students. For the online program, the online English program or the IEP program, those students, once they're admitted, I am reaching out to them through the email that they supplied when they applied to the program, and I will help them work through that process as well, whether they're going to be on campus in the IEP program or online for the OEP, and then I will handle registration for those students.
Thank you, Chris. And then another question would be, so with overall UNL, we recently released an information or an option for a late arrival. Like, if I'm not mistaken, that is up until September 20th.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah. In our case for the IEP or CAP, is that also possible to start online and then do a late arrival?
We are following the same guidelines as the university, so that is going to be an option for those students, so they can make that determination. I know that trying to get a visa may be difficult. They're not sure if they have the appointments yet or what's going to happen. So they could make that decision to try to join online. And if they can't make it, if it looks like they're not going to make it, then we could at some point, switch into those online programs. But if they really want to be on campus, then they could come by September 20th, as the university has noted.
Awesome. That's great to hear as well. Now, in terms of online classes, just to clarify, I know that in our website, it actually says asynchronous. Could you expound more, elaborate, like how would it actually look like if they start online?
Sure. So our online programs are going to have both synchronous and asynchronous sessions. So we realize that when we're dealing with students with so many different time zones, that it's going to be a little difficult to hold all classes synchronously like we would if they were on campus. However, we also got a lot of feedback from our students in the spring semester that they want synchronous sessions, that actually being together through Zoom and being able to interact with each other and their instructor was extremely important to them. So we've built that into our online programs. And so we looked at time zones, trying to find the best times that would work. So what we're going to do is most of those classes, they won't have a synchronous session every day, but there will be a set synchronous schedule. It will usually start around 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. Central Time here in the United States, which should work for most time zones that students are coming from. And that's how that'll work. In addition to those synchronous sessions, they will also have asynchronous sessions that they will take through our Canvas learning management system. This will include certain videos that they will watch that the instructor has made in order to get content, and they'll complete assignments that way. So it's going to be a combination. We really take this very seriously of creating this environment, this rapport with other students and with faculty, and we're going to simulate that as best we can through the online programs.
Great. In terms of how about with the learning management system, what platform will we be using for both OEP and CAP?
We will be using the Canvas learning management system, which is the standard used at Nebraska.
Great.
And in addition, and for the synchronous sessions, it'll be Zoom, and VidGrid will be what we'll use for videos and presentations. So.
Awesome. For those students who are not familiar with Canvas, do we have any resources online as well that they could look at in terms of managing on how to access it?
Absolutely. The UNL website has a whole host of videos and learning opportunities for Canvas, but what we're also working on right now is putting together an online orientation for all students, both the CEAP, the IEP, the OEP, all programs that we hope to have finished around mid-July, and we'll get that out to the students in August. That will take them through all of these different platforms, and it can be overwhelming because there's so much that they can do. We're going to focus just on those basics that they need to be able to get into the systems and access their classes. So we will definitely take them step by step through that process.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris. In terms of probably this is definitely the last question. In terms of student support, we know that some students on the OEP or IEP level, their level is quite low. How the student support would look like in an online class?
Mm-hmm. So one of the reasons the OEP, we're not offering the full number of levels that we have at the IEP because of, as you said, it's going to be, I think, rather difficult to get started if you're a lower level student. So we started at intermediate and higher. Through our experience in the spring semester, we know that those students at those levels did quite well of adapting to the system that we're going to provide. But in addition to that, the faculty member is going to hold regular office hours through Zoom that will also kind of be in that morning time frame to fit the synchronous schedule and the time zones. So they'll have face-to-face feedback that they can get from their faculty members. In addition, we offer an ESL support lab that has traditionally been on campus, but that has also been moved to a remote version as well. So we will have office hours and ESL support lab hours through Zoom that will be available to any student that needs that additional support.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's everything that I would like to ask you. Now, do you have any other final message to our students, education agents as well?
What we wanted to make sure that all students understand that though this is a very difficult times for everyone in all countries around the world, we don't want students to worry about their education, that COVID-19, that the pandemic is going to delay them in getting through their English programs and making it into the university, which is many of the students' goals. So we have worked really hard to develop these different options for students. So whatever the situation happens to be for you, we're going to do our best to have a program that will keep you on track, that will help you get to Nebraska in due time.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. So that's all for today. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in or for watching this video. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to your local EduCo representative, or you can send me an email at ribasco, that's RIBASCO, @unl.edu. Again, thank you so much. Chris, thank you as well. I hope to see you on campus soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Bye.